This is week 3, the Whole Foods Market Deutsche Bank report case. I had problems 4 through 6, and we'll start off with 4. So 4 is, what do the financial ratios tell you about the past operating performance of Whole Foods? And how informative are the historical ratios for Whole Foods prospective performance? So the financial ratio suggests that Whole Foods is reasonably reliable, and its past ratios can be used to forecast its future ratios. Whole Foods performance ratios show that they are able to stay competitive within their industry overall, and also it shows their ability to perform better within their actual niche. Following the 2008 financial crisis, Whole Foods EBITDA margins were only about 1.5% lower than other natural and organic markets, with the average natural and organic margin being 7.5, and by 2010, Whole Foods was able to close the gap within their EBITDA margin and actually eclipse the other natural and organic markets. Whole Foods would stay above average after 2010 and would achieve an EBITDA margin of 9.5 in 2013. Whole Foods was also able to regain a positive same-store growth following the 2008 financial crisis by the year 2010. And from 2010, they were able to stay above average within their niche for same-store growth. From these critical ratios, the past comparative performance of Whole Foods and the past comparative performance of Whole Foods, it's clear that they should remain successful for the foreseeable future. The historical ratios for Whole Foods from a prospective performance position are that they can be used for forecasting purposes. There aren't any apparent anomalies within the past ratios that draw any attention, and certain underlying operation ratios seem to correlate with overall profitability ratios. For example, Whole Foods ROC increased from 2011 to 2013, and sales growth, same-store growth, EBITDA margin, and net PP&E per store all increased together. These correlated increases suggest that Whole Foods historical ratios can in fact be used for the estimation of future positions. Question 5 is examine Exhibit 7 in detail and how important are each of the underlying financial assumptions in the ROA forecast, and what assumptions, i.e. margins, asset turnover, growth, play the biggest role in anticipated movements in ROA. So many ratios play an important role in forecasting ROA, and their fluctuations can impact the ROA directly. Margins such as EBITDA margin play a vital role in assumptions for the ROA forecast because as an EBITDA margin increases, one generally sees net profit increase, and an increase in a company's net profit would lead to a higher net profit margin increase. And if a company's net profit margin increases relative to their assets, then you would see an increase in their ROA. And that's because the numerator of the ROA would increase because the net profit would increase, which would be net income would increase, while their denominator would decrease, which would be their average total assets. And also same-store sales give a great insight for the future ROA of the company, considering that same-store sales growth compares previous stores that are older than a year or more to new stores that are opened. So that shows investors how well stores are able to generate sales compared to previous locations. So this could help indicate if a market is being oversaturated or if it's underserved. In the case of Whole Foods, their same-store growth was significantly lower than their overall sales growth in 2011, with sales growth being 12.2% and same-store growth being 4.0%. After 2011, the significance between the two, or the difference between the two ratios was greatly reduced. And by 2013, sales growth was 10.4%, and same-store growth was 8.1%. So that's a drastic difference between 12.2% sales growth and 4.0% same-store growth that was seen in 2011. Sales growth can also greatly foreshadow ROA, as growth in sales would be a good indicator for growth in revenue. And as long as the retailer can boost its sales growth without substantially increasing its average total assets, then that would be able to create a higher ROA. And just for clarification, a company can grow their sales, but if the sales growth came at the cost of carrying significantly higher average total assets, then their ROA might not see any improvement because their net income would be increasing, but their average total assets would also be increasing too. So the numerator of the ROA would be increasing while the denominator of the ROA would also be increasing respectively. Current asset turnovers can be an excellent ratio to determine future ROA, as it can help show, like previously mentioned, the sales growth to its assets. And this is a simple fact that if a company is raising its current assets turnovers, that means that it's able to generate more sales with respect to its current assets. So that means that it has more sales, but its average total assets is staying low compared to its sales. And all the previously mentioned ratios play the most significant roles as far as Exhibit 7 in determining Whole Foods ROA. Question 6 is, do you agree with the existing financial assumptions in the Deutsche Bank report forecast? If so, why not? What adjustments would you make to the model? And be prepared to defend the basis of your forecast for Whole Foods performance. And I do agree with Deutsche Bank's report, because Deutsche Bank was keen to acknowledge that growth improvements and their improvements to margin are imperative to a Whole Foods ability to flourish, because they are working with many perishable goods and they are a retailer. And they also mentioned the importance of asset management ratios, since they give an insight into the company's supply chain, logistics, efficiency, which are all very important for a retailer. And the report also mentions that it also shows that Deutsche Bank focused a lot on just basic fundamental aspects of Whole Foods instead of just like financial technical aspects, because they consider the importance of creating an appealing experience for customers. And they mention the importance of continuing to seek technological improvements to help create more frictionless environments for customers. So things such as self-checkouts and other advances, because all those add together to make shopping more seamless and with little friction possible. Deutsche Bank also did a fantastic job of comparing Whole Foods to the whole industry of retailers, as far as grocers and superstores, and also comparing it to stores that are very similar to it, so it's actual niche. And considering all the effort taken by Deutsche Bank in the various assessments of the company, well, whether it's from a fundamental business perspective or from a technical financial perspective with its financial statements, its ratios and everything, it's really hard to argue with their assumptions. Thank you.